Hello everybody, and welcome to another weekly reading wrap-up. This time there really hasn't been that much reading for me to talk about. I mean, I have been reading things, but once again, long-running buddy reads, really big books. I finished 3 things in about the last 24 hours, and that's because they were all very, very short. So let's go through them very quickly. First up, I read this. Okay, this is kind of a joke. Very Good Hats by Emma Straub, illustrated by Blanca Gómez. So this is a picture book all about the things in the world that you can find to turn into hats. During the last Stitch and Bitch live show, while talking to Kelsey, I happened to see that my library just added this to their catalog, and I went, well, obviously, it's Very Good Hats. I should get that. So I did, and I read it, and it was very cute, but I have to say, it's more about unconventional hats than, like, traditional hats. And I was expecting it to be like about hats for different professions or from around the world or something, and it is not. But nevertheless, I read it sort of as a joke on a whim, but it was actually pretty fun, and why not? Then I read volume 12 of Ōoku, The Inner Chambers by Fumi Yoshinaga. This is a long-running alternate history manga series about a gender-flipped Tokugawa shogunate in Japan. And at volume 12, I can't really say anything about the plot without spoiling things, but it does span many generations. It's following the entire line of the shogunate. And so kind of recasting real events, but with, gender flipping. And all of it against this backdrop of a plague that kills mostly men, which has really changed the demographics of Japan. And at this point in the series, it's getting very much into Japan having to interact more with the outside world. It seems like their period of isolationism is about to end, given the way this volume concludes. It's like, okay, what's going to happen next? The foreigners have arrived. So I'm finding it much more interesting now that the series has shifted away from the like repetitive storylines about this shogun had these kids, who had these kids, that sort of thing. And now it's about people who have left the inner chambers, scientists, doctors, people trying to work on the bigger issues while also interacting with the people in power. So it's a lot more interesting, and I like the more like diversity of the cast at this point. So I am definitely going to finish this series. I would have finished it by now. Honestly, I feel like I've been talking about this series. I have been talking about it for years now, but I have to get each volume through interlibrary loan, and that just takes a while. So I think I've got 7 more volumes to go, and I think the last 2 may not be out in English yet because the series concluded last year or in 2021, so onwards to the end. It's definitely been an interesting ride. And lastly, I read Microscopes and Magic by Andi C. Buchanan. This is the second novella in their Windflower series that began with Succulents and Spells. Hopefully I'm getting that one right. I have been away from the series for a long time, and I finally decided to just buy the rest of the series and binge read them. Buchanan has gone on to write some other things that I would like to get to, but I really want to finish the series. And it is billed as contemporary witchy fiction. I think it's part of like a whole world that maybe multiple people write in, and it's definitely got the cozy, witchy vibes. I really enjoy it. Microscopes and Magic is returning to the characters of Laurel and Marigold, who are now definitely in a relationship, and they are tackling a magical infestation and solving the problem with both science and magic. And I think that's the thing that I really enjoy about the series. One, it is contemporary, sort of like supernatural fiction, and I do like that, but it's very much a blend of science and magic. Like, these people are actually scientists and researchers and totally nerdy and geeky about stuff, but also they carry that over into their magic and their witchcraft and everything, and I think that's just really lovely. So I'm on to the 3rd novella already, which I am absolutely loving because it's about a fiber artist. I mean, come on, these are set in New Zealand. You knew there had to be something sheep and wool related at some point, right? I am eating it up though. So that's pretty much it for what I finished reading this past week, and like I said, I'm still pretty much reading the same things right now as I mentioned last week, because they're just longer term things. But I think my goal for the rest of February is going to be finishing off the batch of books that I have started so that I can move on to some other things in March. Because yeah, I sort of inundated myself with a whole bunch of library checkouts, and now I just want to finish them so I can go do it all over again. Or I don't know, read some books that I actually own, because I haven't done very well on that particular goal. I will try to do a proper goals update sometime before the end of the month, because I need to keep myself on track. But overall though, I mean, we're very early in the year. It doesn't matter if I'm succeeding or failing at my goals yet. I have plenty of time. So with that, I'm going to get back to my cozy contemporary witchy life, which involves plying yarn and cleaning my house and making soup. I feel very much like Mildred right now. Anyway, more on Mildred next week. I'll talk to you guys again soon, and until then, bye.